You can hear the noise all the way up here. You know, we're so high up and you can hear it, and just walking down today, Wembley Way, it's fantastic. I mean, it's the first time in 55 years we've been in a final, and don't we know it? You know, it's fantastic, and I'm so excited.
And Nicky, same to you.
It's an extraordinary atmosphere here. We're still a long time before the game, and it's so busy, it's so loud. I think it's definitely a heavily English crowd so far, but I promise you the Italians are every bit as much on the edge of their seat for this game. This has been three very difficult years in the making since failing to qualify for the 2018 World Cup and getting to a final first time under Roberto Mancini on the back of 33 games unbeaten. I promise you there's a big atmosphere back in Italy as well. And
Lianne, you have played at Wembley many times, but getting a ticket for today is still special.
Oh, absolutely. First and foremost, you know, I played for the Lionesses, but I'm a fan. You know, from the age of when I can remember when I was 5 years old, you know, I've been to FA Cup finals here at the old Wembley, and now to be able to go to the game tonight. I've not been to any of the games. I've worked every single game, but when I found out I got a ticket, I literally cried, genuinely, and I felt like someone had like swiped me from my kneecap, because I just genuinely fell to the ground. Because people can say that's so extreme, but it means so much to be able to go there, because I've watched England fail over the years, you know, many times. Me and my mum and dad are watching it in my living room at home, and you know, I remember where I was in '96 when we lost. So it's one of those things where these moments you never forget.
And as you say, this is as important to Italy, the team and the nation.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think there's a real sense in Italy that even though the whole world and certainly all of Europe has been hit by this coronavirus pandemic, there's a feeling that it hit there first, and that this is a moment of catharsis for the whole country to come out of that coronavirus pandemic, to watch their team do exactly as Roberto Mancini promised on the eve of the tournament. He wrote an open letter and he said, our job is to bring you moments of joy. And I think they've certainly had quite a few of those.
I mean, when he said he'd take the team here, some of the players said he was bonkers.
Absolutely. Well, he said from day one he's going to win this and he's going to win the World Cup. Whether or not he can do both, we'll see.
Nicky, what I think is really good about Mancini, what he's done, is that he wants everybody to play. You know, when he took off Donnarumma, putting a second choice goalkeeper, he understands what it means to like play.
I mean, briefly, what do you think has changed, you know, since we've had nothing but failure at top level football, international football, since 1966? What's different now?
I think the fact that Gareth Southgate has come in, I mean, I know a lot of people said we should have been getting a different manager, maybe someone a little bit more well-known in the managerial role, but I think he's build the divide between the fans and the players. I think there was a massive gap. You know, sometimes Wembley was being struggled, people were struggling to come. You know, they couldn't fill the seats here. But look at it now, like, they could probably sell out this stadium 5 or 10 times over. So I think that Gareth Southgate's really built a cohesion between the fans and the players. Also, like, you know, the fact that we're winning, that helps. But I do think you've got to give Gareth Southgate, and the players are enjoying it, aren't they? Yeah. You can see, you were saying about both of them enjoying it, but it makes a difference.
I think there's another thing which I think Gareth Southgate has done really well, which is he's not let himself be swept away by the pressure, of which there's a lot, to pick certain players. I think one of the big narratives of England failing was, for instance, when there was that golden generation, it was can Lampard and Gerrard play together, and we kept trying and it didn't work.
Yeah.
I think with this England, he said all along, I will put the players together that I need to win this game, not the best 11 players, the players who will win this game for us.
And there's been something very, very particular about Gareth Southgate's team. You know, this is a team which has shown not just sporting intelligence, but real emotional intelligence. You look what Sterling has done in the fight against racism, Marcus Rashford, Harry Kane supporting LGBT issues. These are young men confident in their own skin, and with a real social conscience.
Absolutely, and I think you've got to give Southgate a lot of credit for that as well, because he's actually backed the players in whatever they've done. I think there's a misconception that footballers are not humans, you know, because they get paid all this money, they kind of just go home and don't really care, but they do care. And I think what we're seeing is a manager that allows the players to be themselves, and I think that's exactly why we are where we are today, because you look at what Rashford's done, you know, during the pandemic, you know, even Sterling, you know, all the players are really on board with what they're trying to do for their own causes, and Gareth Southgate supports that.
I think it's so fascinating, the parallels again between these teams, because just like Mancini wrote a letter, Southgate wrote a letter, didn't he? And he said this, he said that he wanted people to be able to express themselves. He said he was going to stick up for his team, and I think that values that he's created within the squad, if you are able to express yourself, you're able to state your opinion if it's something that you feel it's important to you. And yeah, I think all through the tournament,
because I always felt with England that my opinion was not like it wasn't accepted, or it was almost like don't say anything, even if it was good. Just kind of be quiet. You play for England, and you're representing your country. But I think Gareth Southgate, to pick up on what Nicky said, has allowed the players to do that.
And the players have stuck with it. You look at the criticism they've had for taking the knee, say, cabinet ministers suggesting it's gesture politics, saying it's up to the fans if if they want to boo them, but they've continued to do it.
Yeah.
They're confident.
Absolutely, and I think the players recognise, you know, their roles they play. You know, these are people's heroes. You know, boys, girls, men, women, you know, they are people's heroes. And I think the players recognise their responsibility. But again, Gareth Southgate has backed them taking a knee and done all those things. Whereas if you had a manager that didn't back those things, and Harry Kane wearing the LGBT armband, you know, how fantastic is that? Like, for me to see that was unbelievable. So it's great they've got a leader, and he leads in the way that he does.
And very briefly, I mean, obviously you're conflicted. You followed Italian football for such a long time. Your prediction for today?
I do think England are going to win today. I think that the injury to Lianne Sanderson is just such a critical one, because he was the fastest player in literally the whole tournament, and that speed not only helped up front but also was a big help at the back, where you have got Chiellini, Bonucci, not the fastest defenders.
Leanne,
I'm going to go, I think it's going to be difficult, you know, and I'm grateful that, you know, Italy are playing England in the final, because I played in Italy, but I'm going to go England 2-1, and I think it'll be in normal time. No penalties, hopefully.
I'm going to say 2-1 as well, and I think it will be an extra time.
Lianne Sanderson, Nicky Bandini, thanks so much for talking to us today, and enjoy the game.
Thank you.